and the scooter decided just not to start. That is a lot of stickers. So it's like almost like a twin whale tail. That is the scooter now complete. Okay then guys, so I've received this back from Vapor Blasting and it's come out very well compared to how it was previously. This rubber bit I managed to clean up as well, so that's come out nice. I'm not sure if I'm going to run this. I'm not sure what the use is of it. The original one I had, there's obviously signs that it had one with all the tabs, but it never came with the scooter. But yeah, we'll find out, because it's got this little bit here. So I'll find out what that bit is used for. I've cleaned up the fan cover, which also came with it. And this one is actually in much better condition than the original. But what you can see I've done here is I've actually cut out the fins. And I use like an orbital sanding pad just to get rid of the cuts, just to smooth it out a bit. Because I've seen these being ran before, and where I've painted my fan itself, it really stands out compared to having the one up there with the fins on it. So this was a spare. I've got an option. I've got either or. So yeah, what I'm going to do now is get this on, so at least that's done, and then I can get both plastics on. I'm happy with the tune of the engine at the moment, so yeah, I can start building this back up and get all of these body panels back on, get the wing on, the belly pan, and I have an idea that I've seen with regards to the carrier just here. Now I don't want to modify this one, I want to keep this as is, but I have asked a couple of the guys on the Gensuki group if they have any spares, and there are a handful of guys that do. So I'm going to grab one of those, and I've got a little idea I've seen which I just like. So yeah, if it's cheap enough, I'm going to grab it, and that'll be another little thing that I want to carry out. Let's get the heat shield on. All fitted guys, easy enough. It's now secured here, as well as, ooh, you can just see it just there. So now that is not going to rattle, so that's a good job. So all that needs to be done now is I'm going to try this as well as the original, see which one I prefer, and yeah, get this fitted. I've gone for the one without the fins. I really like the fact that the green really stands out. Unfortunately, with the fins, you just don't really see it, and it is quite a bright green. But yeah, it hides it, unfortunately. So I've gone for this one. Gives it a bit more to look at this side of the scooter, because it is quite plain. The bracket here, slightly foul, so it just pulls forward ever so slightly. I have tried pulling it back, but that's all the adjustment I've got. So I could either take a little bit of material off the cover, or I can just take a little bit of material off here, just to give me that little gap, just so it doesn't foul. But yeah, I'll do that at some point. I have also tinted the rear lens, as I have with the front. And interestingly enough, I mentioned to you guys I wasn't sure if it was a late spec thing where these lenses were darker, and I was actually told that it was a Japanese market modification or option. So these scooters, which were only for the Japanese market, came with tinted lenses. So it's a nice little modification. I want to try and make this as Japanese as possible so it kind of suits. So yeah, unsure if you guys can really see the difference. But yeah, they look a lot nicer than before. Whilst fitting the fan cover, I thought I would fit the adapter for the temperature gauge. Quite simply slides onto the spark plug. You will need a 14mm adapter. They also come, I think, in a 10mm option. And then simply refit the spark plug. And this will be ready for me to fit the rest of the kit as and when I get a chance to do so. Okay then guys, the basket, as you can see, it is now being completely stripped of all of the plastic coating. Now unfortunately, this was unable to be carried out by the acid. So there's a local chap who does powder coating, specialises in magnesium wheels. But yeah, he had this for a little over 2 weeks and he left it in the tank for quite some time, but was worried it was going to start doing some damage to it. But in fact, it didn't even touch it. The plastic coating on it was just, yeah, just didn't want to come off. So what he suggested to me was to burn it off, which is what I did. So it took a couple of hours, but I managed to burn off all of the coating. I then took it to the vapor blaster and just managed to get off all of the excess as best I could. But honestly, the condition of the metal is so much better than I originally thought, and the same with the mesh. Now, as mentioned, I always knew that this hole existed on the bottom, and what I can see is that it's tack welded in between these two bars here. So I could either remove this original mesh, possibly break these welds and remove this lower part, insert the new bit of mesh, tack it as best I can, because I'm not sure if it's going to blow the metal because it's so thin, but it's obviously been done. But yeah, I could do that, and then I could re-weld this lower bar into place. So yeah, when I get to it, because that is on order, it should be in here in a couple of days, I will weigh up my options, but either way, this lower part here has definitely seen its day and needs to be gone. And I think once it's in the white, I think that'll look a nice little option. So yeah, really happy with that. Just had this running again. It is running a lot better than it was. I think I had it far too lean. So I've just adjusted this screw here. And I initially thought it was because this was restricting the airflow. But I had it running without this and thought I'll give it a go. Put it back on, it's made no difference. It runs just as good and picks up really well. So I haven't had a chance yet I took this off because I wasn't sure if the spark plug was then sitting too high because it's a shorter spark plug being an iridium plug. So I'm yet to put this back on and then wire in the rest. I'm going to come under here, up through the headset, and then I can attach the temp gauge on here, which was always the plan. I will do that at some point for sure. The panels, they were looking a little bit rough where it's been in and out of the garage. So I've just given them a little freshen up, a nice bit of body shop lacquer, and you can see there the shine is really nice considering it's a rattle can. Now, an update of the stickers. I've been in contact with James and he has produced more than enough than I require. We're basically there. So I think now he's almost ready to print and then send them out. So I'm really excited to see those, and it will transform the look of this little scooter. So, what I might do then is, yeah, these are pretty much, yeah, they're touch dry. So I'm going to get these back on so I know they're not going to get damaged because they'll be in place. And I think that will do for now. And then I can get the 86 back in. Okay then guys, it's been a couple of weeks since I've been down here really having the time to work on the scooter. I was down here on Friday and the scooter decided just not to start, and I had it running previously. Perfect. It picked up well, everything, the tune seemed really good. But yeah, I thought I'll give it a go. And as I like to, now and again, the sun was out, I just want to go up and down the yard and just put some miles on it really. But nothing at all. It attempted once, I think, to turn over and then nothing. And by doing that, I actually killed the battery. So then I reverted to the kickstart, got it kind of wanting to start, then instantly cut out. And I thought, okay, what have I done or what's changed since? Which nothing has. So I've had to take all the panels off again to inspect everything. So let me show you where I'm currently at. So as mentioned, the panels are off. I took off the heat shield because I wanted to inspect all of the head bolts. I wanted to make sure everything was tight. Same with the exhaust, because this is the new edition. That's the latest edition. It's the new exhaust pipe. That's all good. Messed around with the carburetor. I didn't really need to, I don't think. I shouldn't have. I've now set it up since, and I feel that it's where it was previously. But I thought the carb was the issue, but it wasn't. All it was the fuel cap. So the original fuel cap here. Never thought I had an issue with it, so I've always ran it. The spring seems good, but it always hissed ever so slightly. And I'm aware that cars can get pressurised in the fuel tank, but forgot really that bikes shouldn't. And there's a thing called vapor lock, and I feel that this was the issue. So to test that, what I actually did was pulled the in-feed fuel line from the pepcock to the carburetor, and I use these really clever little pipe pinch clips. So I pinched it here and I removed it from the carburetor with the cap on, not this one, the original cap. And I was getting like smallest trickle of fuel. I thought, okay. What I then did is I released the cap and you could hear it hiss and a slight bit of fuel started to come out here. But more importantly, fuel was flowing as it should do out of the line. So that proved that I was getting a vapor lock. Well, I bought this cap quite a while back, but never used it. So I thought, well, I've got it, I'll try it. Instantly, I put it on, I tightened it up, and I was getting just as much fuel delivery as I was with the original cap, but undone. So that proved that the cap wasn't venting correctly. So I'll now be using this one. And I know that I'm getting enough or the correct fuel delivery to the carburetor, so that is great. Check the spark plug also, it was a little bit wet, so I've dried that out and I've put it back in. Now literally only about 10 minutes ago, I had it up and down the yard, adjusting the mixture screw. And yeah, it seems to pick up as it did, so I'm really, really happy with that. So now, what I'm going to do is fit this, which is for the temperature gauge, get it onto the spark plug. I will then refit the heat shield and the fan cover, and I'm confident now that this is running as it should. Now with all this fitted, I will take it back out for another couple of minutes just to make sure it is still running. So with that, I can get everything back on, and what's really exciting is that getting these rear panels back on is that I've received my stickers from James. So I can have a little play, get those on, and I think this scooter is really going to come up and it's going to look amazing. I'm actually really excited for this. I've waited quite a while for these because all these stickers are custom. I've worked out what I wanted, what sizes I'd like, and James has made it happen. So I haven't opened them yet. I have got it, but I haven't opened them. So what I'll do is get all these bits and pieces, all the panels and all the little engine bits and pieces I've taken off. I'll get that back on. Let's open up the package and let's see what we've got with these stickers. That's the scooter all rebuilt. I've even fitted the belly pan because I've had that off for quite some time. But yeah, so good to see it all back together again. It really is looking so smart. I'm really chuffed with the look. And I know that once we get these open, these stickers are going to transform the look of this little scooter. So yeah, let's get it open and see what we got. And there we go, guys. That is a lot of stickers. He's also done me these, look. I found the 1980s and 90s phrase that used to be on the adverts. It's cool to be clear. So I'm going to have these somewhere. I'm not actually quite sure exactly where I'm going to put every single sticker, but I wanted it as much of a sort of advertisement scooter for 7-Up as much as possible. That's kind of the route I wanted to take. He has done me a perfect replica of the Honda sticker which goes on the front of the basket. Absolutely perfect. You'd never know. That's going to look incredible when that's on. Got some of the older squares on their own. I didn't know if I wanted to have these, maybe one on the front here. Not quite sure, but they're done anyway. I've got different sizes of the 7-Up. I actually prefer this over this, if I'm honest. The flag here, the green flags, because this is the original size. I had James extend them, because I wasn't quite sure if I do run these on the rear quarters, I wanted the flag to extend a little bit. So I have those. But yeah, I'm going to have a little play about. Grab a couple off, place them on the scooter, and basically work out what I want. But I'm going to try and keep it as minimal as possible. I don't want too much. I don't want to overdo it. But it's just going to finish it off. I'm so excited to get these on, honestly. The vision, ironic, pardon the pun. The vision of what I had for this scooter is really going to come together once these stickers get applied. So, yeah, I'm going to have a little play about and then see what I can come up with. Also, guys, an update on the front basket, which I managed to get from the Japanese auctions. If you remember, there was quite a large hole. There was a couple of holes, but there was a quite large hole in the lower part of the mesh. It took me a little while to find a replacement mesh sheet. It's not quite the exact size, but it's very, very close. And what I managed to do is cut out and cut away the damaged part. And I managed to slit the welds, so only tacked on in the corner, I think one at the front, and there was two on the rear also. And I managed just to pull down the front of the frame a little bit, slide in the new bit of mesh, and then I re-welded where it was originally. That's now been sent to the powder coaters. That's going to take a couple of days. I'm getting it done just in a white powder coat. I was tempted to go green just to break up the white as it's sitting on the front panel, but I've gone for the safer bet and I've just gone for white. And with that, I found out directly afterwards that Benny's managed to win me another basket. Now this one is a different design, quite hard to come by as far as I'm aware. I struggled. This one just randomly popped up as I was on the Japanese auctions. Had a couple of days left and he's won it for me, I think for about 30 quid. So that one I think needs a little bit of work as well, but it's completely different. It's not mesh, so it's a little bit sturdier. And I need to take a look at that one. So that's going to be another one for me. So I've got a choice of two now. Yeah, that's a little update. So hopefully in a couple of days we'll have it back and we get it on the scooter and I can show you guys how it looks. Well, the weather has certainly changed in a couple of days. But in those couple of days, I have received my basket back from powder coating. So let me show you what I've got. Put it on the scooter already. It does actually look a little bit larger than I initially thought. It's a little bit wider, but yeah, I like it. The sticker from James fits absolutely bang on. Perfect. You'd never know. But yeah, the finish is it's really nice. This has come a long way, really, compared to how it was when I first received it from Japan. The lower part, which I repaired, I don't know if you guys would agree, but I'd honestly think you would never know. I'm really happy with that repair. The only bit of damage remaining is this hole here, which is a real shame, to be fair. I was tempted to find a bit of wire and just go across and down, see if I could maybe glue it in place. And then I'll go over it with a bit of gloss paint, because I think it would hide it a little bit more. It's just a shame that that's the only existing hole. You can kind of see it. It's no biggie, to be fair. But I might have a go at some point. That might be a little repair, just to hide it that little bit more. But otherwise, it's on. It looks great. It's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, admittedly. But the idea of this, I'm hoping that when it gets to shows, what I want to do is fill this basket up with cans of 7-Up and just have a little sign and just go help yourself. I think that'll be a nice little feature whilst this sits at a show. Because the idea was always really that this was going to be like a delivery type advertisement scooter, I suppose. So that is an idea I had, and I think this is really what this will be used for. And to help support the bottom, even though it is very strong, I've got this thin bit of perspex I managed to cut. And what it will do is it will sit in the bottom here, just like that. And to be fair, you wouldn't even know that it had a bit of perspex in the bottom. I can sit all the cans there, and that'll just spread the weight that little bit more. But yeah, really happy with that, and now very excited to receive the other one, which is the one I actually really want from the Japanese auctions. Purchased another rack. This is from one of the chaps off the Gensuki group. And what I've managed to do is just kick up this back end. I saw this idea on one of the Japanese scooters, and I just love the idea that it almost looked like a bit of a spoiler. And it sits a little bit higher. I've got to remove the dome nuts. It sits a little bit higher than the original. This length here, these legs, is 75mm, whereas these ones here are 95mm. But I'm not really bothered. And what I've managed to do, if I can get the angle right, it sits a little bit high because of these nuts. But what I've managed to do is replicate this angle of the spoiler with this. So it's like almost like a twin whale tail. But it's a random little thing. So I got a choice of running that one with the core box, or everyday scootering. I just want to run just the standard rack there. So this will be going in the gloss white, which I've just purchased, just as this one is. So a nice little random add-on once again. So all that needs to be done now is get the stickers on, and I think it will transform this little scooter. I'm not going to do that in this video though. That's going to be for the next video, because I don't want to give anything away, because I'm confident to say that is the scooter now complete. So after all of those months, all of the work, and you guys follow me on the journey, I'll be so pleased to show you the final form. But on that note, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to catch you in the next one.